So, pal, a while back, we were cleaning out a warehouse of yours, and I found a box that had a bunch of old race trophies. They were trophies that had cars on the top of them, and those the trophies had stickers on them that said NASCAR drag racing. And I wasn't aware of anything about NASCAR drag racing before. What's the story on that? How did that come to be?
Well, most people don't remember that, or never knew that NASCAR had got into the sanction of drag racing. We used to have a bunch of guys running around here. We were drag racing, and we formed a little club, and we would go out and race at the Flagler County Airport. And through a series of events, we came across with NASCAR needed to have a place to run their race. So we made a little deal with them, and so the NASCAR formed the NASCAR Timing Association to sanction these tracks, and I became the Chief Steward for the NASCAR Timing Association. So about that time, Ed Otto came to work, or came into NASCAR, and Otto liked drag racing. He loved it, and he had been promoting drag racing, up in New Jersey and around, and so he commenced bill that they should have a drag race on the beach. But it was a disaster. They didn't have any pavement to go on, to work on, and I don't know what all went wrong. But anyway, they cut it short, and people who had paid to pin it was mad. And so they had kind of a miniature riot down there in Daytona. And they were all around the main street and the bars and so forth. And Main in those days was a live wire place year round anyway. And so anyway, I don't know, but it was in the paper and everything. They had to call out. They called out the fire department. It was going to calm down the rioters. And as they pulled the rug out, well, people chopped the hose up, so they couldn't do that, and it was real bad. Paper had a big on it, and Bill just didn't like any kind of bad publicity, any kind. So they decided, Bill France, so they decided that they better find some other place to do it. So they come up to Flagler Beach, to Flagler County, and but we had to tied up the racetrack, the airport, and so he had to deal with us. So we made a deal. Bill found a little company called Flagler Racing Enterprises, and Flagler Racing Enterprises had Ed Otto and a man named Jack Sin, who was editor of the NASCAR newsletter, and a couple of three others. I don't remember who they were right now, but Ed Otto was the head guy. What they did was they made a NASCAR division. They made the NASCAR Timing Division, which was going to be, they were going to try to do it a franchise or, sanction other tracks. So I got to be made the Chief Steward of the NASCAR Timing Division. Well, it was such a success, our drag strip, that at the end of the time, they brought in another guy named Steve McGrath, who had been a champion midget driver and done some NASCAR racing. And they brought him in as co-chief steward. So the two of us were running NASCAR drag racing. And but the regular races was a big success. The night drags were a big success. And so we set up to do sanctioning. So we ran the Flagler Strip as a NASCAR track, and we finally set up one in Titusville, the Titusville Airport. And we had, through that year, we had several tracks that we had signed up. And so as Chief Steward, I was one of the ones we would go, Steve or I would go to whatever track was, and we were responsible for the pit pass money and any type of cut we were supposed to have, that NASCAR was supposed to have.
Bye.